What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens episode review. Today, guys, we are going to be going over episode 50 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Just think about that. We are now 50 episodes into Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, and we are after this episode, 2 episodes from concluding the 4th arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. To me, that's just insane that we are this far into Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. It still blows my mind. I felt like it was not that long ago. We were just in the maximum mark, and now we're in the end of our 4th arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. It's just insane to me. But with all that sentimental stuff out of the way, we are going to be reviewing. So, generally speaking, what were my thoughts on this episode? I liked the episode. In fact, the last 3 episodes, I have actually liked quite a bit. I think they have done very well with the ending. I felt like when it comes to, or at least from the last arc, I felt like the ending was kind of one of their lower points. It wasn't until that Yuga-Asana rematch where it kind of built me back up into that arc. But this arc in particular, with these last 3 episodes, I have actually been pretty interested in. I think they've actually been pretty solid, and it makes me excited for the finals of this tournament when we actually get to the final duel of this arc, because I felt like every duel that we've had in the final arc, I think of the Yuga Roa duel, the Yuga Nail round 2 duel, the Yuga Asana round 2 duel. I think those have been some of the best duels that we've seen in 7 so far. So will this duel be in that caliber? But we're jumping way ahead. We need to focus on this episode, and this is actually a pretty big duel, as from what it sounds like, the stakes of this duel is whoever wins this duel wins the tournament. That's what it sounded like in this episode. Whether it was Gagato or Neil, whoever won this duel was going to win it for their team, because they would have gotten the points, they would have gotten ahead of the crew, and the way they did that so that even if, like, say for example, Nail won the duel, they wouldn't have the finals, because say Luke won that, they would be tied again. So they basically made it to where whoever won this was going to win it. And this puts a lot of pressure on Gagato in this episode. We kind of see like a pep talk before the duel even commences. And you have Luke, Roman, and Gagato kind of talking with each other. And they knew Gagato was going into this with a major disadvantage, I would say. Because think about this. Neil has a maximum, a very powerful maximum, and Gagato has none. He has no maximum. So now he has to go in this duel with no maximum on his own, and he has to try to win this for his team. So he has a lot of pressure from just that perspective, but also he's been kind of having some guilt recently because of the whole situation with Ron's, leaving the Sogetsu style and going into like the Nail style, or whatever the heck she says it closer to the end of the episode, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But that whole situation has been kind of weighing down on him as well. So he has a lot in his mind going into this duel, and it makes you kind of feel bad for him. Even though I will say this, he can't be blaming himself. Like, it makes me feel bad for him. I understand that he does kind of blame himself, but I don't think he needs to. Ron's decided to go on her own, and even Gagato kind of was accepting it, though I feel like he was just saying that through his teeth, because I don't really feel like he was ready for that. I don't think he was really expecting that, and he's been kind of blaming himself for this. And before they actually get ready to get into the duel, Gagato tells Luke and Roman that he has a secret weapon going into this duel, so they don't have to worry. And they were surprised by this. They're like, secret weapon? What secret weapon? But obviously he doesn't tell them what it is, and he was going to show them during this duel, which the duel itself, before we actually get into the duel, there is 2 things I want to talk about. The first one being the scene with Geta, Arya, and Schrodinger. I'm just gonna kind of all tie that together because not really much happened with that. We was told that Roa sent Geta and Yoshio to go and help Arya, Sebastian, and Schrodinger basically figure out who is orchestrating this entire thing. Like, we still haven't figured out who is the person that sent Mimi that notebook and sent the Go Out Double Six that note. We still haven't figured out who that was, and in this episode, we still don't figure it out. out. I guess they were hoping that Geta might be able to find something because he apparently is a hacker as well. Like I didn't mention in the last episode. Think about this. Arya, who's someone that just washes dishes for a living, and Schrodinger, who's literally Schrodinger's cat, are apparently hackers, and then you have Geta, who is a drummer, is also a hacker, which, to be fair, I guess since they've been working with Neil, I guess there's not really a question when it comes to that. So at least it kind of makes sense. And actually, that's a nice tie-in there as well, because that was actually smart on Roa's part to send Geta there, because he knows that he worked on Geta or on Neil's side at one moment in time, so he kind of expected that he would have that kind of skill, which maybe he didn't really, but he might have been told that he has some kind of hacking skills, and Roa kind of sent him there. So good part on Roa being thinking of the idea of sending him down there to kind of help them, but they don't really do anything this episode. They weren't able to find anything. Geta was trying to like see what he can find, but apparently Arya and Schrodinger, the stuff that he was looking into, they had already found, and they found no result on that. And it was kind of bothering him until Yugioh decided, you know what, I'll help you out with this. And he basically takes Arya and Schrodinger to the side and starts telling them ghost stories, which I think is kind of hilarious. But the second thing I want to talk about is the result when it comes to this duel. I have heard a lot of things when it comes to this duel, similar to how I've heard a lot of things in regards to the Roa and Roman duel from the last one, which, speaking of which, let me know in the comments below, which duel did you prefer? Did you prefer this duel, or did you prefer the last duel? I'm very interested to see what you guys think of this, because I'm going to ask this question when we get into the final duel as well, and just basically get your guys' overall thoughts of what duel do you think was the best from this tournament, or this final in particular. I guess if you want to add in the Yuga Hanto duel, I guess you could add that in there, but me personally, I wasn't going to really count it because it wasn't part of the finals. But out of this finals duel so far, which one was your favorite? But the one thing I want to talk about this before we get into the duel is what the controversy about Neil. As you guys know, this duel ended in a draw, which I'm going to be honest, was not surprised at all, which it's understandable when it comes to this, because it's not this duel's fault, because when you're in a tournament or something like that, especially when you do it at a best out of 3 style, like a team tournament, the second duel of the tournament is always going to be predictable. Now, I understand that this one was a little bit different because of the whole point system thing, but here's the thing though. They need to have a conclusive conclusion to this. And let's say, like again, if Neil wins this duel, they're at 707 points, or 777 points, which very symbolic. I see what you're doing there, Bridge. But say they do that, and then Luke wins the duel for that finals, you're tied again. There is no conclusion because you're tied again. Like gets some conflict between that. So it makes sense of why this duel is a draw. And I've seen a lot of people were actually pretty surprised by this result. I'm not. And also, this is the second draw of the show, the first one being the Rons and Rinosuke duel, which is funny enough, a lot of people have been saying that this one has been the first one, though there was another draw. I understand that that one's pretty forgettable, but we still got to recognize it is a draw, so this is the second draw. But the big complaint that I've seen with this duel is that a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but quite a few people have been saying that this duel just killed Neil's character and his, I guess, legitimacy as a character. And that surprised me. I was really surprised that people went down that route, because let me just start off by saying this. We are only 50 episodes into this show. We have not even passed whatever the whole seasons thing works. I don't know. I've been told that this is like season 4. I've been told that this is going to be the end of season 1. Like, this is so weird. Like, I don't know how this whole like arc thing works. I think this is the end of season 1, but that's my opinion. If you think this is like going to be the end of season 4, I completely understand why you believe that. But the fact that people are going down this route, and again, this is something that I actually mentioned in the last review, wins are not everything. Like, wins don't define a character. Like, that's what is making it seem out to be, is that Neil should have won this duel because it's good for his character. Like, this is going to continue his growth as a character, but wins don't mean anything to a character. I mean, it means some, but like, not the major point of a character. Because let me just say this, and I'm going to mention it like I did in the last review. If wins are so important, if they're the most important things, then and you believe that the wins are the most important thing, I don't want to hear you say that a character like Akira is a great character. If we're going off the perspective of duels are so important, Akira is one of the worst characters we have ever seen in the Yu-Gi-Oh show. And I can bet you that 80% of the people would disagree with you on that, because I know a lot of people that love Akira. And I'm even one of those. I like Akira. I think he was a very fascinating character. And yeah, he never won a duel, but I still think outside of dueling was great. I still thought he did very well outside of dueling. Like Emma, for example, too, with Reigns. You know, she only won one duel, and that was against Naoki. Naoki was her only win, but I still thought she was a great character outside of dueling. It's just, I don't understand where this whole thing came from of wins are so important. If you guys know where this whole thing started, let me know, because this has been the worst that I've ever seen. Like, yeah, the people have been on this before, like, for years now. Like, this has always been a thing, or at least I've seen in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I've been in this community for quite a long time now, and I have not seen it this bad before. Like, I've seen a couple of people say, like, yeah, wins are probably the most important. I've seen a couple of people, but not to this degree. I would say the people back in the day was, like, maybe, like, 4 or 5 people. I counted 12 people that agreed on this. And I didn't even look into it very much. I just saw 12 as like, okay, I need to mention it because this is a problem. We need to stop this because this is complete and utter bullcrap. There is no reason why we need to believe that wins are the most important thing to a character. It's nice for characters to get wins. I don't say that wins aren't at all important, but they're not the main thing that carries a character. That's why I've been debating that Roman duel, because I don't think Roman needed the win. I feel like her losing doesn't kill her character, which it makes me seem like, from these people that say this, that if Roman lost that duel, her character is getting destroyed. And I don't believe that one bit. Say for a hypothetical that Roman did lose that duel, I think she would still be a great character, but going off of this perspective, people might start going on the bandwagon that Roman's becoming a bad character. And I would not agree with that at all. And Roa too. Like, I haven't seen it much with Roa, surprisingly, which I will say this. If you think this is bad and you think Neil is demolishing the character, you should say that to Roa. Because Roa at least lost his duel. Neil drew against Gakuto. So I feel like, I don't know, this whole thing of wins being so important is really, it's makes me very angry. Let me just say that much. I don't like that concept at all. I think that's a wrong way to how you're supposed to think of a duel. I would say or like to think of a character, excuse me. So all I have to just say is, please stop making wins the most important thing to a character. It's the character development is as important, in fact, more important than the duels that they win. That's why I feel like Akira was such a great character, even though he didn't win duels, because outside of that, he was a great character. But I wanted to get that out of the way. But other than that, the duel itself, I enjoyed the duel. I actually really enjoyed the duel. I only have 2 minor nitpicks with this duel. The first one, and this is probably the most minor one, is Neil's new monster. During his second turn, he ends up summoning a new monster, a level 7 monster, Seedclatron Bruzentlin. I don't know how you're supposed to say that, but he summons this new monster, and all it's used for is to help him generate more cards to his hand so that he can get his maximum monster. The only reason why I had a problem with, and it's not even like a problem, it's not like I hated the way they used that card at all. I think it was still a pretty cool card to see, but this more just makes me want to see Neil use something more than Yugo Drago. I really want him to either use a new maximum or just use a tribute summon monster. I understand like him using maximums is like his only thing. He was the one that created the dang thing, so I feel like he should still be using maximums. I'm not saying that get rid of maximums and start making them use tribute summon monsters, but I want a little bit of variety. Like, I don't want him just to use the same monster, because I feel like it's going to get into the same regard of what Yuga was. I've seen a lot of people, and I think I even was to some degree, was complaining that Yuga was relying on Seven's Road Magician so much. And I feel like that might turn the case with Neil. And now I will say though, Neil's Yugioh Drago is way better than Sevens Road Magician by a long shot. I've never liked the design of Sevens Road Magician, to be completely honest. I think it's probably the worst designed ace ever, to be completely honest. I really have not liked Sevens Road Magician. I like what it symbolizes, but as a design, I would say Yugioh Drago is probably my favorite Maximum monster out of the entire series. Not my favorite monster. Dragonic Slayer fits that bill perfectly, but I don't know. That was just a minor thing that I really do hope that he starts getting a little bit more variety in his deck instead of just relying on Yugioh Drago. And then we got to talk about the big thing when it comes to this episode, Gakuting. Apparently, Gakuto's new secret weapon was Gakuting, his new Suigetsu style. And my god, I will say this, I despised Gakuting. I really don't like what he did at all. Now, I will say this, it did not kill his character at all. I've seen some people say, like, oh, that just kind of killed Gakuto's character as well, which, yeah, like, maybe I didn't really like it that much, but I don't think it killed his character because he knew that he knew that it was wrong, that he shouldn't be using that, which I kind of understand why he used it, even though, like, when I first thought, I was like, if you understand that what you think you're doing is wrong, why are you doing it? But he's under pressure right now, and I feel like he can't really think straight. So he ended up going into this new style. And luckily, he gets rid of this really quickly, so to me, I guess the only minor thing is, like, why make it a thing in the first place? I guess that kind of led into the whole backstory and all that stuff, because during that third turn, you see Rinosuke coming out of nowhere, which I think is kind of hilarious that Geta and Yoshio got bashed for going on to the stage or into the field without permission, and obviously they were going to get away with it. But Rons and Rinosuke, they can be there and they don't get harassed by it at all. So that's I find that kind of hilarious. But Rinosuke grabs Gakuto by the arm and says, I will assist you in your final rush duel. And he kind of gets confused on this and like, how is this my final rush duel? And basically, Rinosuke goes on this whole case of like, you have disgraced the Shigetsu name. You have no right to be the leader because of this whole new Suigetsu style thing you were doing. And basically he was trying to make him realize that what he was doing was wrong, even though he already knew it was wrong. Then the lights go off and we don't know why they came off, I guess, for plot convenience. And we see the medallion that he has, kind of like some bling, I guess he wanted to do with his medallion on it. And the light from the moon apparently shines down on that, and he sees the founder of the Shigetsu style, Gakuten, which, clever name, Bridge, clever name, but anyway, we kind of learned about the backstory of that whole, like, Shigetsu style and what that basically was. Apparently, we have, like, Gakuten and then his assistants, Rankage, and then Ringcage. So basically, Rinosuke and Ronze's ancient, not ancient past. I act like they are the ones. I mean, they look so similar, but it's their ancestors. Basically, they were looking on this map. I guess they were in the middle of some war or something like that. And you see Gakuten just like looking at the thing, and you even see like Gakuto kind of like observing what he's doing, and he's like saying like, oh, he's like observing what's going on, kind of similar to how his situation is with Yugioh Drago. And, you know, he realizes what he needs to do. He gets that fan out and basically tells him that's the road that we need to take in order to win this war. And you see Gakuten riding a horse, and, you know, he has his two assistants following him. And this basically snaps Gakuto out of this entire thing. And he has, like, his third robe change of this entire episode. Like, he literally went into his Shigetsu, like his normal thing with the kimono and that. Then he goes into that weird one, and then he finally goes back into the kimono. And I feel like he has a great turn 3, as he's able to get out his new ace monster, Demonic Hermit Vessel Cardizarch, which is a very cool monster. I actually like the design of it. Not a ruler, which was surprising. I actually will say that much. I was surprised, but I guess he didn't use a ruler against Ron, so I guess he's trying to not just fully rely on just bringing out a ruler. But don't worry, the rulers are important in this episode, but thanks to a spell card and the effect of Card's art, he's able to get his monster to 4100 attack, tries to destroy Yugioh Drago, but is stopped by a trap card, and he only deals 100 points to Neil, which that's another thing too that I find hilarious with the whole debate that's going on that this killed his character. I want to think about this before that final turn. Neil had 3,900 light points, while Gakuto only had 1,500 thanks to Yugioh Dragon's attack from earlier in the duel. How is that bad at all? Now, yes, he gets all of his light points thanks to one of his traps, which allowed him, since he had 3 of his rulers in his graveyard, he was able to inflict the damage equal to his monster's attacks to both players, and that's basically what ended up causing the draw. But think about that. Gakuto, before that trap card, only dealt 100 points of damage to him. And Neil dominated this entire duel, I would say, because think about that too, like I just mentioned. He was playing a whole bunch of combos. I think he used in his entire hand just to get his monster to the 4100 attack and get another monster to deal extra damage. And he was stopped by one trap card by Neil. Like, if that isn't the definition of a strong opponent, I don't know what is. Because Neil proved that he overpowered Gakuto. He barely got out of that by the skin of his teeth. If he didn't have that trap card, he was dead. He lost this duel. So that trap card, and having the luck of his rulers getting sent to his graveyard, because I think he had to send one card to his graveyard, which was semi-ruler, and he was able to get it because during the duel as well, he was also sending his rulers to the graveyard with other effects, but he had to rely on this trap card and sending the final ruler to his graveyard just so that he can pull this off and nick a draw. And it's not like Gakuto beat Neil or anything like that and like cleaned him in a flail swoop after that. It's not like that ended up happening. He ended up causing a draw, and again, Neil dominated the duel, so I don't see where that was bad. I really don't. I feel like Neil was the stronger duelist, and Gakuto was just able, with, I would say, luck getting out of that. But I also will say this though, this was definitely Gakuto's, probably his biggest duel. I would say not his biggest win. I would probably say his biggest win is against Galliant. I guess I would say that. But I thought this was a good duel for him. And again, the result had to be the way it was going to be, because I will say this. If we had to get an actual result, it would have been Neil. I really do believe that, because I felt like for how the structure of it was, like say we did it in the old-fashioned way where no points, Neil would have to win the duel to actually get the get the 1v1 scenario for that final duel. But this duel in the result had to revolve around that final one. So this result made complete sense, and I think it helped Gakuto as a character, and I think it kind of kept Neil a little bit balanced. He's still powerful, I do believe that, but it keeps him to where he's not over the top. I still think he's very powerful, but I guess he brings it a little bit lower to the level. And think about this too, he had been destroying characters in the tournament as well. Like all of the shots that we got off screen of them participating in the tournament, it was Neil obliterating them, excuse me, I can't speak today, with Yugioh Drago. Like, he has proved enough for me that he's a very tough character, and I guess they wanted to bring him a little bit down. I guess that's what they wanted to do. I don't know, but I don't think it really brought him down at all. I think he just got blindsided because of that. And also, I forgot to mention this too. He used Tribute to the Doom. Like, that is also cool as well, that they actually had him use that. I was not expecting that at all. And Gakuto was able to put up a very good wall against his monsters, was able to survive all of the effects of Yugioh Drago, but it was that Tribute to the Doom that forced his hand to have to try to get it into a draw, because he knew that that was the best way possible. So, result makes sense. I thought the duel was great. Those two minor nitpicks didn't kill the duel for me at all. I'm glad that the Gakutin thing is never going to return. I really do hope so, because I despise that. I despise that as much as Roman's Berserk mode, but obviously I hate that more because it was shown more than that. So thought the duel was great. Ronze ends up at the end of this episode as well, returning to Gakuto, so that's good as well. So I guess that was just like a great way as well to end that story with a whole Ron's thing that ended up happening. She ended up going back to the Sugetsu style and going back with Gakuto. So I'm really glad that that ended up resolving. And then the final shot of this episode, we see the third matchup getting ready to begin. We have Luke versus Yuga. I am very excited for this upcoming duel. And again, I really do hope this duel has the potential to being as high as Yuga Neo round 2, Yuga Asana round 2, Yuga and Roa. I really do hope it fits into those levels as those final arc duels from the previous arcs. So with that being said, that is going to be it for this episode review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this episode. Did you like the episode? Did you think the episode was okay? Or did you not like the episode? Let me know what you guys thought of Gakuting. I've actually seen a couple of people actually really did enjoy the Gakuting thing. I honestly despised it, but I want to know you guys, did you like it? Did you think it was okay? Or did you not like it at all? The duel itself and the result, and which duel did you like more? Did you like the Roa and Roman duel, or did you like the Gakuto and Neo duel? Love to know all your guys' thoughts down below. With that being said, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.